Welcome back to the world according to Briggs. Today we're going to dive into the overpriced real estate circus that is the United States of America. These are 15 U.S. cities that aren't worth the cost of living or the cost of real estate, ranked from mildly ridiculous to completely absurd. This isn't a list just about cost. We looked at what you get for that over-the-top price tag. We're talking about places where you could drop $500,000 on a home and still find yourself sharing a fence with an alley where the local street pharmacist has set up shop since his parole. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 15, Austin, Texas. Austin loves to brand itself as the quirky tech hub where live music meets barbecue. But behind the hipster charm is a housing market that's downright brutal. The average home value here hovers around $550,000, and that's after the prices have dipped a little from the pandemic highs. Sure, you might score a house with a mural of Willie Nelson painted on the garage, but you'll also inherit a property tax bill that could finance a small moon landing. And what makes Austin especially not worth it is the combination of crushing housing costs and infrastructure that's never caught up with its growth. The roads are jammed, the utilities are strained, and every summer the heat index turns the city into a giant pizza oven. Add in skyrocketing rent that averages around $1,800 for a one-bedroom, and you've got a city that costs too much for the privilege of sitting in traffic while listening to the same guy with a guitar busk on 6th Street. Austin was fun when it was cheap, and it really was, and it doesn't seem like it was too far back that it was cheap. Now it's just Silicon Valley with cowboy boots. And unless you've got a Google stock option, you'll find yourself priced out really fast. Number 14, Denver, Colorado. Denver's another one that fell victim to its own hype. Once a go-to spot for the outdoorsy types, the herb enthusiasts, and people who wanted to pretend they ski every weekend. Denver is now the poster child for overpriced everything. Everything. The average home value has ballooned past $540,000, and the average rent for a one-bedroom now sits around $1,900. That's a lot of money to live in a place where your backyard view the Rockies usually includes a neighbor's rusty grill. On top of that, wages haven't kept up at all. Denver residents deal with some of the fastest growing living expenses in the country, from groceries to gas. Even craft beer, once affordable, is now creeping into the double digits per pint. Combine that with increasing homelessness and rising crime rates in the downtown core area, and suddenly all those sunshine-filled mountain ads start looking like a scam. Denver's appeal has always been mountains right next door, but those mountains are 45 minutes away in bumper-to-bumper traffic, and the trailheads are now full by 9 a.m., so I hope you like paying premiums to hike in line with people. Number 13, Portland, Oregon, my hometown. Current hometown, not from here. It's where I live. Portland was once a weird little city with affordable rent, indie bookstores, and more bike lanes than cars. Today, it's a cautionary tale. The average home value here sits around $536,000. Rents are around $1,700 a month, and property taxes are no joke, trust me. We're paying Bay Area price tags without the Bay Area salaries, it looks like. Portland's homeless crisis and the rising crime rates make the price sting a little bit more. Whole stretches of downtown have businesses shuttered. While tent encampments have slowed a little bit, you'll still find them. The police are now playing whack-a-mole with them. You know, they break up this camp and they just go 4 blocks over and start it again the next day. Even the locals admit the city has taken a nosedive in livability. So you're paying out the nose for a quality of life that has been MIA for years. And don't even get me started on the rain. 6 months of drizzle, gray skies, that might be fine if you're paying like $800 in rent, but when you're paying $1,700, you expect the clouds to at least part occasionally. Even though we're in the middle of a heat wave, in about a month and a half, we won't see the sun much. You know when it comes back? Late May. I've done a whole lot of videos on Portland, and it's weird. People are always all, you should be embarrassed living in Portland. Why would I be embarrassed? I didn't make this city out of whole cloth. I'm not running the show. What kind of mentality tells you someone should be embarrassed about where they actually happen to live. Now, if something I had a hand in creating was doing bad, I could see your point. But I just live here. Just like you live outside of Jackson, Mississippi with 12 dogs and your fifth wife. Number 12, San Diego, California. San Diego has the kind of weather real estate agents dream about. 72 degrees and sunny most days. Unfortunately, it also has the housing costs that would make a billionaire sweat. The average home value here is $990,000. Average rent, about $2,700 a month. For about $800,000, you might get a condo with neighbors who can hear you sneeze through the wall. The cost of living in San Diego is about 50% higher than the national average, yet wages don't keep up unless you're in biotech or the military. And the military doesn't pay much in the first place. Everything from gas to groceries costs more. And don't forget California taxes, which seem designed to make you never fully enjoy your paycheck. San Diego's weather is perfect, sure, but good luck enjoying it when you're working 2 jobs to cover rent. You'll be too busy Googling, how do I sell a kidney legally to make it to the beach? Number 11, Seattle. Seattle is what happens when a city lets Amazon move in and drive housing prices into the stratosphere. The average home value here is about $850,000, with rents averaging around $2,300. And for what? What do you get for all that? You get to live under permanent cloud cover and pretend you don't see the homeless. That's it. On top of that, Washington State's lack of income tax is offset by punishing sales and high property taxes, which eats into the illusion of affordability. Now, it is nice not to have, a state income tax, but they get you other places. Just like here in Oregon, we don't have a sales tax, but they get you in everything else. Now, sure, Seattle's great for tech jobs, but not everyone is coding for Amazon. If you're not pulling 6 figures, this city isn't sustainable. Unless your dream is to live paycheck to paycheck in a studio apartment the size of a broom closet, Seattle just isn't worth it. Number 10, Boston, Massachusetts. Boston is one of the oldest cities in the U.S., and it charges you dearly for the privilege of tripping over cobblestones and listening to locals yell about sports. The average home value here is about $750,000, with rents averaging about $2,600 for a 1-bedroom. That's Ivy League tuition money for the privilege of living in an apartment built before indoor plumbing was invented. Now, oddly enough, Boston is one of the only cities on this list that's had their average home value go up. Almost every single one has dropped 1.5% over the last year. So Boston, for some reason, is still going up. But on top of that steep housing costs, Boston has insane property taxes and one of the highest costs of living in the country. Groceries, utilities, and transportation all run well above the average. Add in brutal winters to the mix, and suddenly the idea of paying $750,000 for a 2-bedroom starts feeling more like you're being mugged by history. Boston's charm is undeniable, but at these prices, it's a charm you'll need a trust fund to enjoy. Otherwise, you'll probably be living in Revere and telling people you're from Boston. Number 9, Honolulu, Hawaii. Yes, Hawaii is paradise, but Honolulu is an overpriced gatekeeper. The average home value here is about $750,000, with rents being about $2,800. Now, if you want to look at the median home value instead of the average home value, like we say, it's over $1 million, 1.3 to be exact. Groceries cost about 60% more than the national average, and gas prices often sit at the highest in the country. Whatever your state is, go look at Hawaii and you'll feel better about it. Basically, unless you own a pineapple farm, good luck living here comfortably. What makes Honolulu especially rough is wages. The average salary doesn't come close to covering the inflated costs here. Many locals work multiple jobs just to afford a modest living. And while tourists come for the vacation, residents deal with gridlock, limited housing, and the kind of price tag that makes Costco look like a luxury. It's beautiful, yes, but living in Honolulu often means being priced out of paradise. Paradise shouldn't come with a second mortgage for groceries. Number 8, Washington, D.C. The nation's capital charges a premium for everything, even if you don't get much in return. The average home value here is around $650,000, with one-bedroom rents pushing about $2,400. And that's not counting Maryland and Virginia suburbs, which aren't much cheaper these days. The cost of living here is about 50% higher than the national average. While crime in the worst neighborhoods is down over the last 6 years, it's still enough to keep you looking over your shoulder at night. Add in some of the worst traffic congestion in the U.S., but you're basically paying a fortune to be stuck on the Beltway with angry commuters. Yes, there are good jobs in government and lobbying, but for everyone else, D.C. is just an expensive city with muggy summers, cold winters, and rent checks that will make you weep. Number 7, Los Angeles, California. I grew up in the Los Angeles metro area. And no, I had nothing to do with putting it in the shape that it is. I've never run the city, anything. I just lived there. Just like you live in Missouri in a van down by the river. But Los Angeles is where dreams go to die in traffic. The average home value here is around $900,000 a month, with rents averaging about $2,500. That's a ton of money for a house that probably has termites and sits under buzzing power lines. Beyond the housing market, everything else in LA is overpriced too. Gas, groceries, utilities, you name it, it's a premium. The traffic is legendary, the air quality is sketchy, and the homelessness is widespread. Add in California's high taxes, and you've got one of the most expensive cities in the world with some of the worst quality of life trade-offs. Sure, there's glamour in Hollywood, but the average Angelino isn't walking red carpets. They're walking into their third side hustle to cover the cost of a one-bedroom apartment in North Hollywood. Number 6, Miami, Florida. Miami markets itself as a tropical playground, but behind the neon and the beaches is a crushingly expensive housing market. The average home value here is over $600,000 and rents average around $2,500 for one bedroom. That's a steep price for hurricane prep and insurance premiums that could bankrupt you. Wages in Miami are low compared to the cost, and many locals are getting pushed out. Add climate change and flooding into the mix, and you're basically buying a very expensive houseboat with a foundation. Now, before you say it, stop typing. Miami has great beaches and a wonderful nightlife, but the affordability thing? Forget it. Unless you're importing money from elsewhere, Miami is just a sun-soaked money pit. Number 5, Oakland, California. Oakland was supposed to be the cheaper alternative to San Francisco. That's a joke. The average home value here is just north of $750,000, with rents averaging about $2,600 a month. Add in rising crime rates and homelessness, and suddenly Oakland feels like you're paying a premium price for a whole bunch of problems. Wages don't match the housing costs, and even longtime residents are being priced out and they're moving inland to Sacramento or whatever. Oakland has cultural appeal and history, but the price tag makes it hard to justify. You can pay nearly $1 million for a house and still have your catalytic converter stolen off your car. Oakland once had potential, but today's costs, it's just an overpriced satellite of San Francisco with all the same headaches. The only thing you've added on is a commute to get to work in Silicon Valley. Number 4, San Jose, California. Staying in the same part of the country, go to San Jose. This whole area is a mess with problems and being overpriced. San Jose is the heart of Silicon Valley, which means housing prices are flat out insane. Average home values here are $1.4 million and rents are about $3,000. Unless you're coding for Google or designing chips for NVIDIA, you're not going to be able to afford a decent life here. Everything in San Jose is inflated. Food, utilities, gas, making it one of the most expensive places in the country. And unlike San Francisco, it doesn't even have the charm of iconic landmarks. It's just a sprawling suburb with a staggering mortgage. If you're not making six figures, San Jose is a nightmare. Even if you are, you're still going to feel broke. This place is too expensive. And it doesn't make sense. The greatest thing about San Jose is it's close to very good paying jobs in Silicon Valley, which are just up the road. It's nothing special. It doesn't have the the Manhattan of New York City. It doesn't have the beaches of Southern California and Hollywood and all the theme parks. It's just a suburb, basically, and there's nothing to it. I've been there several times, all the way back in the 90s when it was still reasonably affordable. And now I just don't get it. The only thing is, you've got all these people coming from Silicon Valley that are making a ton of money, and they're looking for a place to live, and they don't mind paying that kind of money for a house. Throw down $1 million, that's fine. I'm making 1.4 this year. That's how it is with them. So, yeah, it's just crazy. Number 3, San Francisco, California. Yep, we're heading up the road to San Francisco, where for that kind of money, you do get some nice little features, like history and things to do. It's not a suburb. San Francisco is a real city. It's not the best city, but there's still something there you're paying for. But San Francisco does take the cake for overhyped and overpriced. The average home value here is about $1.3 million, and the average rent is about $3,200. And what do you get for those prices? A studio apartment with a view of a brick wall, and neighbors who hold drum circles at 2 a.m. because they're in a cloud. Add in crazy amounts of homeless, a tech bro takeover, and a downtown that feels hollowed out, and suddenly the price tag feels like daylight robbery. Crime is up, small businesses are closing, and the once quirky city has been polished into something sterile and unaffordable. San Francisco used to be weird and fun, sort of like Portland used to be. Now it's just a place where you pay a fortune to argue over whose electric scooter is blocking the sidewalk. It's crazy. Number 2, New York City, New York. The Big Apple is one of the most overpriced places on the planet. The average home value here is about $795,000, but in Manhattan, those prices easily soar past $1.2 million. Rents average about $3,500 for a one-bedroom. That's not living, that's financial Stockholm syndrome. Groceries, utilities, transportation, they're all inflated. Even your bagel will cost you $7 to $9 these days. Add in brutal winters, humid summers, and rats that look like they're training for the NFL, and suddenly the city that never sleeps feels more like the city that never saves. Sure, New York has opportunity, you cannot deny it that. But unless you're pulling in Wall Street money, the city eats paychecks alive. At best, you'll share a shoebox apartment with 3 roommates and a mouse named Steve. All right, before we get to number 1, if you're thinking about moving to any one of these cities because you could afford it, there is a link for Home and Money in the description area below. They can get you in touch with a real estate agent anywhere in the country. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Beverly Hills, California. Yes, out there in the Los Angeles metro area, you have the most famous town of Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills is where all the rich movie stars live. And I'm just going to put this out there for you. The average home value in Beverly Hills, California is $3.4 million. 3.4. Let's be honest, Beverly Hills is where the cost of living officially leaves reality. Now, you already know the average home value. The median home price is around $4 million, with rents averaging around $5,000 a month. And unless you're starring in a Netflix show, you're not affording it. Don't even bother trying. What makes Beverly Hills the absolute worst is that it's not even a real city. It's a status symbol. You're not paying for better schools, safer streets, or better infrastructure. You're paying for a zip code, 90210, while dodging tour buses and realizing your neighbor's dog wears a Rolex. He's treated better than you. If you're looking for value, Beverly Hills is at the bottom of the barrel. It's the most expensive neighborhood in a state that's already drowning in high costs. And unless you're loaded, you'll just be broke in style here. It's ridiculous. Now, I just said it's a neighborhood. It's actually a city. It's its own city. It's in the Los Angeles metro area. I don't want you to think that I was saying it's just neighborhood. No, they got their own mayor, their own police department, all that stuff. But it is ridiculous. If you go there, it's nice and it's well maintained. But for those prices, oh my God. It doesn't even have a waterfront view. You're like in traffic, in Los Angeles traffic, you're almost an hour away from the beach. On a good day with very little traffic, you're still 30, 35 minutes away. That's not to a good beach either. It's Santa Monica or, Venice, where you might get attacked by a homeless person. So yeah, Beverly Hills is ridiculous, and there's no way it should be as expensive as it is. I don't make the prices. All right, everyone, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great day. Be nice to each other.